Hey Wargamers! Today I want to talk about some new rumors that hit Faeit 212 about the upcoming Tau codex. You can check those out in the link below for the original source, but I'm going to talk about all of them here. Now, right off the bat, I want to say I don't buy into Tau rumors too much. We waited years for the last codex, and over that time we had plenty of false alarms. But, maybe with the accelerated release schedule, rumors might be a little bit more reliable, but still pretty salty. So I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm not putting my eggs in this basket. But still, let's talk about it. Might be kind of fun, good thought exercise about what to expect with the new codex. So rumors are that there's going to be a new Fire Warrior box that can make 2 types of units, a new Crisis Suit kit, a new Commander kit, or actually, it's to quote exactly, it's more Commander suits. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. A new Riptide-sized unit that has large missiles, and the source also says that there's some sort of Tau Aegis defense line with circular weapon platforms. So that's the rumor, and so let's kind of tear that apart a little bit here, piece by piece. First of all, I think we're going to see something similar to an Eldar size release, since they were released about the same time for their 6th edition codices, and if it's true that a Tau codex is coming out soon, it's released again in the same time frame, and their model ranges were very much in a similar state, where Tau had a few outdated models, Eldar had more outdated models just because they've been around longer, but there are some things like crisis suits that really could use some attention, just like jet bikes needed attention. So maybe we'll see a similar sized release. But yeah, so the new Fire Warrior box, maybe, it is, part of that original line, but the model still holds up really well. So I don't expect a new Fire Warrior kit. And I doubt I have no idea what they would pair it with, right? I mean, the obvious choice would be Pathfinders, but Pathfinders just got a new awesome plastic kit last time. So I really don't see them redoing the Pathfinder kit in order to make it a dual kit with Fire Warriors. And then from just a gameplay perspective, what would you pair with a Fire Warrior? Fire Warriors are, ranged infantry. And so unless you gave them a completely different and new weapon type, I don't know what the alternative would be aside from a pulse carbine or pulse rifle Fire Warrior. So I don't think there's going to be a new Fire Warrior kit. New Crisis Suit. I think this will be the new model that we get with the next codex. Just like I said, the old kit shows its age. It's not posable, and it's pretty undetailed for the most part. And so I think we'll probably get a new Crisis kit. I wonder if there could be a potential for a dual kit with a new Crisis suit, but I doubt it. I mean, really, the thing about Crisis suits is that they're all the same, and then you just switch out the weapons to specialize them. You don't need a different unit to take on a different role. You just give it different weapons. So I think it'll probably just be a single Crisis kit. If anything, they would add a new weapon, but I don't think that's likely, just because I think they have their weapon set down, and maybe they could expand it to be one of the old kind of like airburst fragmentation projector weapons could become a more widely accessible thing, but probably not. It says more Commander suits, so I'm not sure if that means more special characters or just an additional Crisis suit that's not Finecast. I could see that. I could see a new a new plastic commander, because again, we're moving away from fine cast, so maybe maybe a plastic commander. But who's to say whether or not that would be a dual kit with a normal crisis suit or not? Because for the enforcer suit, it was larger, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll come out with enforcer plastic kit that's a standalone and a just a normal upgrade for the new crisis kit. So maybe that's the more commander suits is having just the upgrade and then also the enforcer suit as a standalone kit as opposed to just an upgrade for the crisis kit. I don't know. But I could see something like that happening. A new Riptide suit. We'll get back to that in a minute, but I'm pretty salty on that. The Tau Aegis line. We haven't seen any codex specific fortifications yet. I mean, the closest you get is the Sporocyst with the Tyranids, right, which is kind of like a fortification, but not really at all. Yeah, I doubt we would do that. I don't think that they would put the effort into making a big fortification for just one codex. You could kind of make the same argument. Why would they make individual units for individual codices to begin with? But obviously that doesn't make sense. So I don't know. We just haven't seen any fortifications yet for codex specific factions, and so I doubt that we would see it. It would be neat though, but again, if it's like an Aegis defense line, why not just use an Aegis defense line? I don't see it being different enough that it would warrant its own model and be profitable enough for them, for GW. So yeah, that's kind of my general thoughts on those rumors. So let's put those aside and kind of get into a bit more speculation on my part, what I think we might see. The big question might be Riptides. How are they going to act? Since Wraith Knights were put into a Lord of War spot for Eldar, you might expect similar things for the Riptide. And so I see three possibilities for Riptides. Either one, they're going to stay the same and maybe get a slight point increase, especially for taking Ion Accelerator. Maybe Ion Accelerator's 10 points instead of 5 or 20 points. Just because people were complaining about Riptides 2 years ago, and so that kind of seems to be the time scale where, all right, 2 years ago someone was complaining about this, let's address it now for GW. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a point increase for Ion Accelerators. Second option is that it becomes a Lord of War, and if that's the case, probably a point increase as well. But I would expect that Nova charging the Ion Accelerator would be Strength D. So that would be nice for Tau to have access to D via that path. A third option would be maybe you can take them in units of 3 now, which is contrary to the fluff, but the Riptide didn't exist in the fluff until this last codex to begin with. So GW is pretty guilt-free with manipulating the fluff to fit what they want to do with the models or with the game. So I wouldn't hold it against them to make Riptides units of 3. And on that note, maybe Crisis Suits would be units of 5. That was a rumor for the past codex, I know, but maybe. Probably not, but maybe. We could maybe see a dual kit expansion for the Riptide, kind of like we saw with Knights, where they added, different weapon options, and maybe that could be the missile suit, the big missile suit, but again, I doubt it. I don't see another giant model for Tau. I think the Riptide is going to be their big model, and I don't think there's going to be a whole new model that comes out in addition to the Riptide. Maybe there's a weapon option that's added to the kit or something. But again, then they'd have to go through the whole process of making a new sprue. So probably not. I know, unless if they did do it, it was a big enough thing to take up a whole frame. I don't know. But yeah, so I doubt it. I think the Riptide kit is probably going to stay the same. That would be interesting though, because it would mimic the change that we had with Broadside's last edition, right? Where originally they just had rail rifles or rail guns at the time, but now rail rifles, and then moved to also have missile options. So the Riptide would mimic that, but again, I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, so in general, though, other things we might expect, I would expect Farsight and Shadow Sun to be Lords of War. Probably the Riptide then, too. Of course, we're going to have our new Decurion Warhost style formation options. So you'll probably see something that allows you to take a crude-heavy army, probably something that allows you to take a suit-heavy army, particularly with Farsight, so there's probably going to be some sort of special rule there for that type of detachment. And, you know, on the subject of crude, I think we'll probably get a new Shaper model, just because that's one of the old metal kits, and, you know, they'll probably get one of those into production in plastic. And, you know, it's with the release of Harlequins, a lot of people thought maybe Kroot will be their own codex, or Kroot and Vespid, but I don't know. I think with the Decurion style formations, you don't necessarily need that, and if they were to do that, you would need a whole nother release. That would be Harlequin size, right? So you need a Kroot release alongside, or like a Kroot Carnivore release, a Kroot Shaper release, and then, you know, probably Krootox and Kroot Hounds already, right? So there's a fair number of units, but then you'd have to add on top of that probably something else, some sort of transport or something. Maybe like a Narlock or a Narlock Riders, like they had from Forge World. And so maybe, but I doubt it. I think they'll probably just stick to being a formation type thing with a potential for a new Shaper model. And then maybe the last thing I was kind of thinking about, maybe railguns will be strength D instead, because they are supposed to be, you know, they're supposed to be stronger than the Ion Accelerator in terms of, you know, pure punching power, right? That's why it's strength 10. But I don't know. If they do make it strength D, then, you know, that'd be fine, but it'd still just be for the solid shot. It wouldn't be for the for the blast template, submunition round. It wouldn't be for that. It'd just be for the single shot. So, yeah, I think that's about it. That's kind of where I'm thinking the new codex is heading. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and of course, happy wargaming.